Hello, Lauren and Isabel here from Revel Fit, talking today about the history of the emotional freedom technique, thought field therapy, and the subsequent different expressions of these. So, what I wanted to do is actually share a diagram that I have designed because I needed a visual of how all these things kind of fit together. So, here we are. Let me see if I can enter full screen mode. Perfect. All right. So what we have here is my little version of a diagram of what these all these techniques are. The basics of all of these is tapping into the traditional Chinese medicine meridian systems, and it's different ways of tapping in the sense of algorithms or patterns or the way you tap. Are you thinking about things, feeling about things, saying things associated to the topic that you're hoping to process or move beyond or clear? So they all have their kind of different intentions, but the end result is helping those that are utilizing this tool to move to a better state of being. So there's more joy, more peace, more happiness, less of kind of the icky, unpleasant feelings and thoughts. So here we start with the thought field therapy. So the kind of the father of all of this, the founder, is Dr. Roger Callahan. And this style of therapy started, circa 1980, and he based it off the ancient meridian energy body maps. What was happening was in his practice, he had a client, Mary, who had this intense phobia of water. We're talking to the point where she was in extreme distress getting into a bathtub or going outside in the rain. And she was having these stomach pains. And so understanding the meridian system, Dr. Roger Callahan had her tap underneath the eye, which is a point along the stomach meridian. What she found and what happened to her was this phobia lessened to such a degree that she no longer had this fear and phobia of water. And it was just simply by tapping and thinking about this fear on this meridian point. So Callahan had this bright idea to start tapping on other points from different meridian systems and was finding that specific patterns or algorithms was bringing his success rate from 20% to 97% of being able to move through and process these different fears, phobias, and other mental emotional pains. He did utilize muscle testing. So that is kind of like the brief synopsis of what that is, where it started, who started it. From there, it moved to the classic EFT, so the classic emotional freedom technique. Gary Craig is the founder of this, and it was in the 1990s. He utilized the TFT and neuro-linguistic programming, which is the NLP, for influences of how he brought about his expression of this energy meridian point tapping. What Gary Craig wanted to do was create this like one-stop shop protocol. So it taps on all of the points from the different algorithms of the TFT so that you're covering all of your bases for any issue. It's this concept of just redundancy or repetition and clearing the energy system so that you create more happiness, more peace, and whatnot in your life. This technique, his expression of it, takes the intuition out of where you're feeling things, what the emotion is, where that might manifest, and then using that specific algorithm, it just takes that out completely, and you just tap on all of the points, and one of them or all of them is going to create some change. It's easier to learn. He did take out the muscle testing as well because he had this understanding that there might be some inaccuracy if you are not a trained practitioner in muscle testing. So for those that were just learning this and wanted to utilize this tool without having to go through a lot of education, he wanted to make it as simple and as quick as and as effective as possible. From classic EFT. We move down to the energy AFT, which is over here. So Sylvia Hartman, her original expression started in 2011. She took the classic EFT and added in a couple other of her education and experience. And she took it to a point where they believe in the human, any practitioners that do this, believe in the human totality to be made up of 3 separate but equal important aspects. Your mind, which is kind of the psychology bit, the body, which you would see maybe physicians, medical doctors, massage therapists, and then energy and emotions, which is the energists. So the energy EFT practitioners work directly with the energy and the emotions as opposed to the mind and the body. So they've taken out and looked at just the emotional body, the emotional energy that is within us. So with this, they also used the SU scale, which is -10 all the way up to +10 as a measurement of whatever issue you want to tap on is feeling in your state of being. So -10 being the absolute worst you can feel, +10 being the absolute best positive that you can feel. So this was a way to tell about how happy or if there was any improvements happening on a subjective scale. The energy EFT treatment worked to get the client to around a 0, and then would switch from kind of the negative association to whatever was going on, switching it into a more of a positive setup statement, and then continuing to tap on all of those EFT tapping points to get as close to +10 as possible within each session. From there, Sylvia Hartman started in 2013 the positive EFT. The difference on this one was instead of looking at past disturbances, it was more future oriented, and it was focused on what you wanted to bring into your life, to call into your life. What did you want your life to look like? The setup statements were based around that language, and the tapping was felt and talked about in that way. She then decided to combine the 2, which brought into the modern energy tapping. And this is just the combination of energy EFT and positive EFT with the intention of bringing the participant to a +10 rating. So it's just taking those 2 different EFT energy modalities and combining the techniques to create one. And then if we come back over on this side, some more shoot-offs from the classic EFT, starting with this TBT, which is the Trauma Buster technique, with Rihanna Webster in the 1990s. She utilized influences of the classic EFT and NLP. She worked in a correctional department and was noticing when the people she worked with in that space were talking, they had these extremely abusive or traumatic pasts. And she just noticed that this resulting shock and trauma that they had been exposed to, they were unable to eliminate and resolve even after going through mainstream medical and mental solutions. So she took the EFT and the language from the neurolingual programming to help people who had trauma, PTSD. So it was very specific niche and way of language to help these people just move past their past. The next one is optimal EFT. So this is the Gary Craig who created the classic EFT. He expanded on his original techniques in 2014, adding in the spiritual principles of a higher power, a God, and quantum physics. And with this, let's see if I can find my notes here. It was described as the ultimate goal of EFT. The technique is designed to use EFT ouch, bud, tapping to remove blocks and offer the user enhanced spiritual awareness. So more than just the mental emotional pain, Gary Craig brought in the spiritual aspect of bringing in this awareness to remove the block so that you can have direct connection and experience of what he was calling the love's presence. It's to create a personal peace so profound that it provides a launching pad to spread true harmony throughout the world. So that was his intention with this expression of EFT. The next one, the faster EFT, Robert G. Smith. In 2005, he used the influence of classic EFT, the NLP, and this be set free fast. The focus was on letting go and replacing past disturbances with a happy memory. So pulling you from a negative state to a positive state in a specific technique that Robert G. Smith created. We have the clinical EFT, which is Dawson's Church expression of classic EFT. This is basically what he did with this one was take the EFT manual and bring it to, with the supplemental material, bring it to the American Psychological Association Division 12 Task Force on empirically validated treatments. So he took the manual, added these materials, this empirically validated materials to make it so that it hits the standard for the APA's Division 12 Task Force. So it just brought a whole ton of scientific validity to what EFT can do within clearing the energy systems and clearing the mental, emotional, and physical pains. And then this last one here, this matrix re-imprinting by Carl Dawson, his influences was the classic EFT. The difference between this one and all the other ones is that, and how he evolved the EFT, is that the memory is actually transformed, bringing any past memory up and creating and transforming the picture that you have of that memory. And in that memory, new memory that you're creating, adding in the resources, creating and performing with the tools that you may have needed in that time that you maybe know. So it's going back into the past and adding in, in an energetic thought field kind of way, what you would have needed at that point to get through that without the manifesting and the embedding of the emotional, mental pain there. So super quick, again, I'm trying to keep these short and sweet. I am going to post up in the event page the list of websites for all of these, so that if you're curious about learning more about them, you can go directly to the websites. A lot of what I shared with you today was quotes from their websites. None of this is my original thoughts. I'm just trying to share the depth of research and experience and whatnot that has gone into this field of energy therapy and the tapping. So look for that list of websites, ask any questions that you have, and we will talk later. Bye.